The classroom buzzed with the familiar hum of chatter as students settled into their seats. At the front, Mr. Parker, the strict but respected math teacher, walked in with a stack of graded test papers. His sharp gaze scanned the room, silencing the whispers. "Quiet down, class," he announced, placing the stack on his desk. "I've graded your tests, and I must say, I am very disappointed." A hush fell over the room. Some students shifted nervously, while others exchanged anxious glances. But in the middle of the room, Hannah, a quiet, diligent black girl with curly black hair and intelligent brown eyes, sat calmly. She had studied hard for the test. Math was her strongest subject. Mr. Parker began, calling out names, handing back the test papers one by one. Faces fell as students saw their scores: 75, 68, 81. The tension thickened. Finally, he called out, "Hannah Johnson." Hannah stood and walked to the front. Mr. Parker's gaze was sharp, almost suspicious, as he handed over the paper. The bright red 100% at the top shone like a spotlight. A murmur spread through the class. Hannah smiled, feeling a rush of pride. But then, Mr. Parker's voice cut through the room. "Hannah," he said slowly, "I need you to explain how you got this score." Hannah's smile faded. "Explain?" "Yes." Mr. Parker's voice was cold. "I believe you cheated." A wave of shocked gasps echoed. Hannah's chest tightened. "But I didn't cheat." Mr. Parker crossed his arms, a hint of a smirk on his lips. "Then you won't mind redoing the test in front of the whole class?" "Prove it." Hannah's heart raced, her fingers gripping the paper tightly. How could this be happening? Hannah sat quietly, her heart pounding as Mr. Parker held up her test paper. A bright, bold 100% marked the top, an achievement that should have earned her praise. But instead, Mr. Parker's face darkened with disbelief. This can't be right," he muttered, glancing at the paper again. The class fell silent, eyes shifting between Hannah and Mr. Parker. "You're telling me you scored higher than every single one of your classmates on this advanced math test? Even the top students like Liam and Emma?" he asked, skepticism dripping from his voice. Hannah swallowed hard but nodded confidently. "Yes, I studied hard. I was ready." Mr. Parker's eyes narrowed. "Studied hard, huh? Because it looks more like you cheated. No one else scored this well, especially not you." Murmurs rippled through the classroom. Some students smirked, while others looked uncomfortable. Hannah clenched her fists, refusing to let his words break her spirit. "Why would I cheat? I've always been one of the best students in math," she said, voice steady despite the growing tension. Mr. Parker didn't back down. "Explain how you solved these problems then. Right here, right now. Show me your work." Hannah hesitated for a moment. She had done the test mostly in her head, but she was confident she could solve the problems again if given the chance. "All right," she said, rising slowly. "I'll prove it." Hannah stood up, her eyes fixed on the blank sheet of paper Mr. Parker slammed down in front of her. The whole class watched silently, some with curiosity, others with barely concealed doubt. Mr. Parker's voice was cold as he said, "Go on, Hannah. Solve these problems again. Let's see if you really know your stuff." Hannah took a deep breath, steadying her nerves. She picked up the marker and began working through the first problem. Her hand moved confidently, each step precise and methodical. Slowly, the solutions appeared on the board, correct, clear, and complete. Some students shifted uncomfortably in their seats. A few whispered among themselves, eyes flickering between Hannah and Mr. Parker. Logan, one of the top white students, smirked but didn't say a word. Macy whispered something to him, glancing toward Hannah with a mocking smile. Mr. Parker's face remained tense. After Hannah finished, he leaned in, staring at the board, unwilling to admit her success. "Fine," he said stiffly, "but don't think this ends here. I'm reporting this to the principal. I'm sure there's more to this story." Hannah sat down, her heart racing, but her eyes were steady. She knew she had done nothing wrong. She had earned her grade, just as hard as anyone else. The classroom buzzed with tension, but something had changed. The doubt in the air was no longer as strong as before. A quiet respect had started to grow, even if only in a few eyes. Later that day, Hannah sat nervously outside the principal's office, her hands trembling slightly as she clutched her bag. The accusation from Mr. Parker weighed heavily on her mind, but she refused to let it break her spirit. Principal Williams, a tall, composed black man in his early 50s, greeted her warmly when she was called inside. His eyes held a mixture of concern and determination as he closed the door behind them. "Hannah, I've reviewed the situation and watched the classroom footage," he began calmly. "I want you to know that we take any accusations seriously, especially when it involves discrimination or bias." Hannah nodded, swallowing her nerves. "Thank you, sir. I just want to prove I earned that grade. I didn't cheat." Principal Williams leaned forward. "We believe you. In fact, the evidence shows that Mr. Parker has a history of unfair treatment towards some students, particularly those who don't fit his expectations." Hannah's eyes widened. She hadn't expected this, but relief started to wash over her. "We are conducting a full investigation," the principal continued. "For now, Mr. Parker has been placed on administrative leave while we look into these matters." Outside the office, Hannah could feel the weight slowly lifting. Justice wasn't guaranteed yet, but someone was finally listening. She realized that standing up wasn't just about her anymore, it was about everyone who faced unfair judgment and bias. Word spread quickly through the halls of Lincoln High. By the next morning, students whispered about Mr. Parker's suspension and the investigation underway. Some expressed surprise, others, like Logan and Macy, were openly skeptical, casting sideways glances at Hannah as she walked through the corridors. Hannah tried to ignore the stares and whispers. She focused on her studies and her passion for math, determined not to let the negativity derail her. During lunch, she sat quietly at a table in the corner, scrolling through messages on her phone. Supportive texts from friends and even some teachers lifted her spirits. "You showed them," one message read. "Don't let the haters win." But Logan wasn't ready to back down. He approached her table, flanked by a couple of his friends, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "So, Hannah, how does it feel to play the victim and get a free pass?" "You didn't fool anyone," he sneered. Hannah met his gaze steadily. "I'm not playing anything. I earned every bit of that grade. It's not about you or your approval." The cafeteria fell silent. A few students shifted uncomfortably, sensing the tension. Logan's face reddened with anger, but he turned and stormed off, muttering under his breath. Macy smirked but said nothing. Hannah let out a slow breath, feeling a mix of exhaustion and quiet triumph. She knew this battle was far from over, but she was ready. The following days felt like a whirlwind for Hannah. The investigation into Mr. Parker's conduct intensified, and the school administration was clear that fairness and justice were their priorities. Still, the tension in the hallways was palpable. Some students whispered support, others sided quietly with Logan and Macy, but Hannah stood firm. One afternoon, Ms. Perez, the school counselor, approached Hannah after class. "You've handled everything with such grace," she said softly. "Not many could stand up like you did." Hannah managed a small smile. "I just want to focus on my future. This is just a hurdle." Ms. Perez nodded. "And you'll clear it. I've also spoken to a few community groups who want to support you, some scholarships, tutoring opportunities, and even mentorship programs." Hannah's eyes brightened with hope. Despite the struggle, this moment was opening doors she hadn't imagined. Meanwhile, Mr. Parker remained off campus, his reputation tarnished. Rumors spread that other students had come forward about his unfair grading and biased behavior. The school's atmosphere was slowly shifting, conversations about equality and respect taking center stage. In her math class, Hannah's confidence grew. She no longer hesitated to raise her hand or share her ideas. With every correct answer, she reclaimed the space she deserved. And deep down, Hannah knew this was just the beginning, a fight not just for her own success, but for all those who would come after her. The day of the school assembly arrived, and the auditorium buzzed with anticipation. Students, teachers, and even parents filled the seats, eager to hear the principal's announcement about the recent events. Hannah sat near the front, her heart pounding, not knowing what to expect. Principal Marcus Dean stepped up to the microphone, his calm yet commanding presence silencing the crowd.
Good morning, everyone.
Today, I want to address an important issue, one that affects every student in this school.
He paused, scanning the audience.
Recently, we uncovered evidence of discrimination and bias in one of our classrooms.
As a result, Mr. Parker has been suspended pending further investigation.
Gasps and murmurs spread throughout the room. Principal Dean continued, but this is about more than one teacher. It's about ensuring that Lincoln High is a place where every student is judged solely on their abilities and character.
He turned toward Hannah. Miss Hannah Thompson, would you please stand?
Hannah's breath caught as she rose slowly. The room erupted in applause. Hannah's courage and perseverance have not only proven her innocence but have sparked a commitment to change within our school.
He smiled warmly.
I'm proud to announce that Hannah has been awarded a full academic scholarship to any university of her choice, in recognition of her excellence and leadership.
Cheers and whistles filled the auditorium.
Hannah felt tears prick at her eyes as she looked around, seeing the genuine support from so many faces. This moment marked a new chapter, not only in her life but for the entire school.
After the assembly, Hannah's phone buzzed nonstop.
Messages of congratulations flooded in from classmates, teachers, and even strangers who had heard about her story. Many praised her bravery and intelligence, while others expressed shock at Mr. Parker's behavior. Despite the overwhelming support, Hannah knew some challenges still lingered. Logan Barrett and Macy Whitfield, the students who had doubted her, remained distant. They exchanged glances and whispers, refusing to acknowledge her victory.
One afternoon in the cafeteria, Logan stood up and called out sarcastically, "So, Hannah, how does it feel to play the victim and get rewarded for it?" A hush fell over the room as all eyes turned to her. Hannah's jaw tightened.
She took a deep breath and replied calmly, "I earned every bit of this. Not by playing victim, but by working hard and standing up against unfairness."
Logan sneered, "You cheated, just like Mr. Parker said. Everyone knows it." Hannah stepped closer, her voice firm, "No, Logan. I studied harder than anyone in this school. You just couldn't accept that a black girl could be better than you." The cafeteria was silent. Some students nodded in agreement, others looked away embarrassed.
Logan's face flushed red, and without another word, he stormed off. Macy followed him, her smirk fading. Though the confrontation was tense, Hannah felt stronger
than ever.
She realized that her journey wasn't just about proving herself to one teacher or two students, it was about breaking down barriers for everyone who came after her.
In the days following the confrontation, the school atmosphere began to shift. Students who had once ignored Hannah now approached her with respect, some even offering words of encouragement.
Teachers started to recognize her not just as a top student, but as a leader who stood up for fairness and integrity.
Hannah felt a mixture of relief and responsibility.
She knew that her story had sparked important conversations about race, bias, and equality within Lincoln High. But more than that, it had inspired others to find their own voices. One afternoon, as Hannah walked through the halls, Ms. Perez, the guidance counselor, stopped her.
"Hannah, I just wanted to say how proud I am of you. Your strength has made a real difference here."
Hannah smiled, grateful for the support.
"Thank you, Ms. Perez. It means a lot."
But even with the progress, Hannah remained focused on her goals. She doubled down on her studies, preparing for the future with the scholarship now secured. She knew the road ahead would have challenges, but she was ready. Meanwhile, news of Mr. Parker's suspension and the investigation spread beyond the school. Local news outlets picked up the story, highlighting Hannah's courage and the school's commitment to justice. Her name became a symbol of hope and resilience in the community. Despite the attention, Hannah stayed humble. She often reminded herself that this was just the beginning, not just for her, but for all students who deserved a fair chance. The morning of the school's award ceremony arrived, and the auditorium was packed with students, teachers, parents, and community members. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and anticipation. Principal Marcus Dean took the stage, his expression serious yet proud.
"Today, we recognize not only academic excellence but also courage and integrity. Miss Hannah Johnson is one such student.
The crowd erupted into applause as Hannah stood, her heart pounding with a mix of nerves and pride. Principal Dean continued, Hannah not only achieved the highest score on the advanced math test but also stood up against discrimination and injustice. For her resilience and excellence, we are honored to award her a full academic scholarship to any university she chooses. Hannah's eyes welled with tears as she accepted the standing ovation. She thought back to the challenges she had faced, the doubts, the accusations, and the isolation. But through it all, she never gave up on herself. After the ceremony, Hannah was surrounded by well-wishers, including teachers who had never believed in her before, now expressing sincere congratulations. Even some of her former critics offered quiet respect. Walking out of the auditorium, Hannah felt a new sense of purpose. Her journey wasn't just about proving her own worth, it was about paving the way for others, breaking down barriers, and changing minds. She looked up at the bright sky and smiled. The future was hers to shape, and she was ready to embrace it with strength, dignity, and determination. That if you believe in standing up for what's right and breaking barriers, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Share Hannah's story to inspire others, and leave a comment below telling us about a time you stood up against unfairness. Don't forget, your voice matters, and together, we can create change. Stay strong, stay proud, and see you in the next story.